Born of vengeance, cradled in a corpse, it screams for the sins of the hunter's past. The child of a great one and the final adversary of the hunter's nightmare. One of the hardest fights you will face as a hunter. Located at the end of the fishing hamlet, we find this enraged spirit. His attacks are powerful, and right from the beginning you can sense his anger and his hate. In order to lift the curse of the nightmare, we must defeat him. Welcome back to another Bloodborne lore video. Today we will dive into the story of the Orphan of Kos. Sometime before the events of the main story, a great one named Kos had washed ashore in the fishing hamlet. Kos was in the late stages of her pregnancy and had died before the child was born. It's not known who the father of the child is, but we do know that the Great Ones cannot give birth naturally. The villagers of the fishing hamlet saw the corpse of Kos as a god and would worship her. The villagers knew Kos was pregnant, and they had discovered these parasites throughout her corpse. They would sort of use these parasites in various ways, and later down the line the villagers became sort of mutated. While these events are occurring, the Healing Church was studying Great Ones, and Master Willem had wanted to obtain an umbilical cord of a Great One, as he believed that held the key in transcending humanity to the level of a Great One. Eventually the scholars and hunters of the Healing Church would invade the fishing hamlet. This would turn into a brutal massacre where many villagers were murdered and experimented on. Later on, the hunters would find Kos's corpse. It's not really known what they did after they found her corpse, but what seems to be the most agreed upon theory is that the hunters dissected Kos's corpse. With all of these atrocities taking place, a curse done by Kos would soon flood the hunters, where they would be cast into the hunter's nightmare to endlessly hunt for all eternity. After we defeat Lady Maria in the nightmare, we are able to enter the fishing hamlet, and the moment you enter, you feel the eerie and uneasy atmosphere. You're greeted with this dialogue upon entering.
Atonement for the wretches by the wrath of Mother Kos. Mercy for the poor wasn't child. Mercy. Oh, please. Atonement for the wretches. Lay the curse of blood upon them and their children, and their children's children forevermore.
And the enemies here are very tough. As we make our way through all the craziness, we finally get to the shore where Kos's corpse lay. We approach the corpse and get to meet the Orphan of Kos. We see it coming out of the corpse, look up at the sky, start crying, and once we approach him, the fight begins. Although I personally don't think this is the hardest boss fight in the game, it's definitely one of the harder fights and definitely one many have struggled with. The Orphan of Kos is a tall human-looking creature, and he wields this weapon called a placenta. He uses it sort of like a club and also has some longer distance attacks. When we approach him, he immediately starts attacking, and you can feel his rage. In the first phase of the battle, he's completely savage, screaming and jumps all over the place, and he's pretty quick. There's a couple of different strategies used in this stage, but the one I've always seen is dodging his attack and getting behind him for a visceral attack. You can't get too greedy, as some of his attacks will require you to distance yourself and to be mindful of where you stand. In the second phase, it becomes even more brutal and unpredictable. He grows this thin cape-like thing, and he has some new attacks. He has this lightning attack that can definitely be a pain, and he jumps a lot higher in this phase, so the camera angles can get annoying. Important thing here is to not let all the noise and craziness overwhelm you. Time your dodges and attacks and keep your distance when appropriate. We see the Orphan's true power in this phase, and it's a real challenge, but the feeling of victory is absolutely amazing after you defeat him. Once he's defeated, we're given the weapon called Kos Parasite, and his black spirit is found near Kos's corpse. Once we attack it, the nightmare officially ends. We see the message "Nightmare slain" and get the following cutscene.
Sweet child of Kos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.
The orphan is the embodiment of the curse on the hunters. The Orphan of Kos forces you to confront the sins of the healing church. You see the representation of vengeance, sorrow, guilt, and a vicious cycle of violence. His death puts an end to the nightmare, but it's not really clear if this is suggesting a theme of release or forgiveness. It's mainly up to the player's interpretation. Either way, you can't help but feel a sense of relief when the fight is over and the nightmare ends. It's as though we ended the suffering of the orphan and his mother by defeating him and allowing him to return to the ocean. A very fitting final boss and a very satisfying battle. That's the end of this video. If you have any theories or lore of your own, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.